welcome to this loosening practice where we're going to focus on a cycling motion with the legs. Now, one of the reasons that this is an incredibly useful practice to have, to be able to do just a few minutes at home, is that it replicates our most natural motion, our bipedal, two-legged, vertical, upright motion that, although it's called cycling because it is most obviously that kind of movement and that kind of pace, actually it's got the same kind of events in it, often called essential events, that we do in walking, kind of drawing in and extending of the legs. And it's particularly useful if you're feeling demotivated, and if you might want to go out for a walk or can't, or the two combined where you might want to go but somehow you just don't quite have the energy. And one of the things this motion does is it's so important for our circulation, for how we draw blood up from the lower body back up to the heart. And it keeps things going, blood pumping, heat out to the periphery. So it has that motivating sense about it, as well as connecting with our whole body and making us really feel that we have good, strong legs to be able to hold ourselves up and protect ourselves with, to move away from things towards things as we're able. So it really helps to give a sense of embodied self. So we're going to lay down to do this. I've placed a little something under my head just to give space at the base of the skull. And you don't need to do this on a mat, and you can do it fully clothed, so it's a really, really accessible motion. And you notice as soon as I'm coming to the ground, I'm just having a little rock through my lower back. And my body just kind of started doing that automatically. Just getting some softening there. And you notice as I'm doing this, I'm just letting my knees move from side to side. I'm moving across my feet, so just waking up my feet. So a little bit of loosening and waking before we go into the full motion. And then just drawing the knees up. Again, I'm having a little motion, a little rocking. So particularly if it's the kind of first motion you've come to today, or you've been quite stagnant before, let yourself just feel out the kind of loosening you need. And this in itself is always a very good practice, just to listen and respond. And from here, I'm just going to start to rotate the ankles. So getting into those nooks and crannies in the architecture of the feet. It's very important for how we can potentially stand up from the ground with ease. It's to have ease and space through the feet. And I'm just going to start to point and flex the feet. Now you'll notice as soon as I start to do this, it has a feeling of walking. It's reminiscent of walking. And you can feel that up the legs. It's a pumping effect already. So we've got this going and you can involve the legs with that. So already you can start to feel that it's engaging things, it's awakening, it's opening. Lovely. Now I'm going to start to just follow that into a bit of a pedal. You can let your feet move, you can open your toes, particularly if your toes have been caught or stuck in shoes. And we're just going to start to let the legs extend, just come to towards straight, as feels right for your knees. So it's not a question of slamming the knees back, but just feeling that they extend through the backs and sides of the knees. And what you can feel as you do this, particularly if you have knee issues, and you can look and notice that you're moving that motion straight through the knee. And flexing the feet there, just keeping us really active through the front postural muscles. Doesn't have to happen all the time. You can flex and then point as you come away from you. So we're just playing with all those possibilities in the feet, feeling how if we flex our feet, flexing is the opposite of pointing there. If you flex your feet in, it's quite protective for the knees, and you flex them equally on the little big toe side of the foot. And maybe you start to just get a bit bigger. Maybe you reach away a bit more. And if you start to do this, then you'll suddenly, the weight of your legs is away from your body, so it's stronger to hold in the torso. So draw down at the lower ribs, this area here where the diaphragm is, so that you can breathe. So that you're not just gripping here and kind of holding on, tightening the diaphragm in an attempt to stabilise the lower back, but you draw the bottom ribs in so you can still breathe, but that stabilises the lower back and engages this abdominal box between the hip bones and the lower ribs. So you just go at the point that feels comfortable for your lower back. Lovely. Now let's reverse that. So you can have your hands wherever feels right for you. You see my reversing is a little clunky to start. Having your hands wherever feels right for you, but somewhere the shoulders can drop. And if that is bringing your hands onto your diaphragm, onto the lower ribs to help both feel that stabilisation and breathing here. So you've got that wonderful polarity of steadiness with ease. Sthira Sukha in yoga. If you need to every so often to breathe and sigh out, let's go back and forwards again. So you feel it's quite heating, quite pumping, has heart about it. Lovely, just a few long ones where you reach in away, keeping the extended leg off the ground. Lovely, now we're going to come back, drawing it into centre any way that feels right for you. I'm just doing a little forwards, a little back. We're just going to be here now with the knees apart. And just take the outsides of the knees, so your hands are just into your knee pits. Elbows onto the ground, if that's happy for you to be there. It's going to be in that slightly wider stance. Just to settle. Because we've moved the legs in a very forward and back way, we're just now settling with the hips slightly open. And you can even just move each knee and turn up and down, so you're just getting a little wagging of the tailbone side to side to release the lower back. Lovely. Now from there you might just want to come into constructive rest, hands onto your belly to connect into this central area. And just spend some time here letting your breath settle, feeling that body connection. And either maybe going for a real walk, if you feel motivated enough, or just settling into a sense of calm.